Hello! So today I'm back with a ranking video of my personal top 10 favorite albums from 2020. I did a similar video last year for the first time and I really enjoyed it, so I figured why not do it again. This year I decided to do it with K-pop and non-K-pop artists because there have been some really good albums released this year that I have been waiting for by my favorite Western artists. It was actually super hard to narrow down to just 10 albums because there were so many released that were so good, and I got into so many new artists this year as well. So to quickly explain how I did my rankings, I made it in a similar way to last year, so it's not really going to be based on any sort of concrete numbers except for some information that my Spotify Wrapped gave to me. So essentially I based my rankings on the music videos that hooked me in right away, how much I watched the music videos, how much and for how long I listened to the albums, and how many of the songs off of the albums that I listened to consistently throughout the year. I have all of my notes here on my phone, so if I'm looking away from the camera, that is why. So anyway, let's see who made the cut. Okay, so coming in at number 10 was 5 Seconds of Summer's Calm album, which came out at the end of March, I believe. This was an album that I was really looking forward to hearing when it finally came out because I have been into 5 Seconds of Summer since they were this tiny little band that nobody really knew who they were, and they were just One Direction's opening group. Like, I have been with them since that first tour that they were on with One Direction, and I've loved them ever since. And I said this when I was reacting to their album, but it's been really cool to, you know, like grow up with them essentially and like see them as people evolve, but also see and hear, I guess, how their music has evolved. So this album was very exciting. But yeah, I definitely listened to this album a lot, probably from the end of March when it came out to around July, so like the middle of the summer. And all of the songs were actually in my Spotify Top 100 for 2020 playlist, partially because I helped organize a streaming party between Five Sauce Fam, I think is what the fandom is still called, not sure, and Monbebe, Monsta X fans, for All About Love, because I think both of these albums were like trying to achieve something on Billboard, and streaming on Spotify was going to help. So I listened to these songs quite a bit, definitely around April I think is when that happened. However, I would say now at this point in the year, I don't listen to the songs all that much. Like, I like most of the songs, but there are still some that I don't super vibe with as heavily as I do with some of the others. So I don't really reach for them as often, but I will listen to them if they come up in my shuffle. But I don't listen to them very much frequently anymore at this point in the year, now that it is almost, thankfully, over. So that is why Five Sauce's album is at number 10. In the number 9 spot is Monsta X's All About Love album, which came out on Valentine's Day, February 14th. I really vibed with all of these songs. It's a very different sounding album from literally any of their Korean releases, which that's totally fine. Like, I love hearing them try new things, and they honestly can pull off any sort of concept like really, really well. Like, Monsta X are just really good at any concept, I think. I don't know if everyone else thinks that way, but I do. So yeah, I just really like the songs. They're very vibey, they're very like relaxing to listen to, even though some of the lyrics are like kind of a lot, but that's fine. I think it's really cool that they did a full album in English and that they were the first K-pop artist to do that, I think. And also that they left Wonho's vocals on it, because at the time nobody knew what was happening with him and Monsta X. Like, nobody like knew where he was. So I think it was kind of nice, like, last album with MS7. So yeah, I appreciated that aspect of it as well. I listened to this album a ton when it came out until around the middle of April, partially because of that streaming party. And I would say, like with 5 Seconds of Summer's album, at this point in the year, I don't listen to All About Love very much. Like, I don't reach for it all the time, but if the songs come on in my shuffle, then I definitely will listen to them, because the songs are just, again, very chill and nice to listen to, and I like hearing Rapline sing quite a bit in this album, which there's a lot of that, so really enjoyed that. As for the number 8 spot, that is held by Woods' album Equal, which was released at the end of June or early July, I believe. Woods is an artist that I got into this year. I did not know who he was at all, really, until my friend sent me the Studio Joom performance of Love Me Harder, like right after the music video came out, and genuinely I was so hooked into that song after that video. Like, I could not stop watching it, and honestly to this day I still watch it basically every day, if not like every week. It's just so good. Like, I love watching it. He's so pretty, he's so talented, and I just love the song. Like, it just really hooked me in, and I definitely watched that performance a lot more than I watched the actual music video, which is kind of bad, maybe, I don't know. As for the album, I really loved all of the songs right away, and I listened to it like pretty much on repeat, like cover to cover, for a few weeks, maybe like a month, but I think after that I kind of stopped listening to the whole thing, and I really only listened to Accident, Noid, and Love Me Harder. In particular, Accident and Noid's live videos that he posted. Those ones really got me. But yeah, so I listened to those 3 songs for a while, and then now I would say at this point I really just listen to Love Me Harder and watch that performance video. So that is why Woods is at number 8. Coming in at number 7 is technically 2 albums, because it is NCT 127's Neozone and The Final Round, which is the repackage for Neozone. Because Final Zone is a repackage, I'm just kind of including them as one, and there are quite a few instances of that in this ranking, so sorry if that's cheating, but it's fine. I'm honestly kind of shocked how like low down this album is, particularly Neozone, more than The Final Round, but yeah, honestly, if this ranking were based like only on the music videos, this one would probably be right at the top, because Kick It to me is NCT 127's best comeback. Like, I don't care what anybody has to say, like Kick It is probably their best title track that they've ever released. Like, everything about the music video and like the promotions for it and everything like that was so like chef's kiss perfect. Like, again, I'm so angry that my reaction got blocked, and then when I tried to fix it and like edit parts out so that it wouldn't be blocked, it just got ruined by YouTube's editor. I'm so sad because oh my god, I lost my marbles when I first saw this music video. It was so good, oh my god. But yes, if this were based on music videos, Kick It would be right at the top. But anyway, as for like the whole album, I liked it all, and I listened to it in full like a few times, but throughout the year I was definitely only listening to about half of it, so like 9 out of 17 of the songs. Those were the ones that really I vibed with the most and reached for the most, I guess I could say. At number 6 is yet again another repackaged situation, and it is also NCT. It's NCT 2020 Resonance Part 1 and Part 2. This album actually took me quite a while to get into. Part 1 more than Part 2. Like, the songs took me a hot second to like really like them, but the more that I listened to them, the more I was having them stuck in my head, and the more that I just wanted to listen to them all the time, which is different from like NCT 2018. I feel like I liked those songs right away a lot more than NCT 2020, but now I love the NCT 2020 song. I just listen to them all the time. Like, I am constantly playing in the car if we're going out to do any essential shopping and stuff like that. Like, I'm always reaching for Make-A-Wish or 90s Love, Work It. Like, honestly, I reach for these songs so much. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised, because when I first heard the album, I did not think I was gonna include this in this ranking video or even like it all that much, just in general. Both of the albums are obviously still the very classic like NCT sound, I guess. Like, you just know that it's NCT no matter the concept, which I really appreciate. I've always loved that about NCT, that they basically have their own genre and they always stick to it no matter what their concept is, which is really cool. I'm also loving all of the different combinations of the NCT U lineups, and just seeing like all of the cute interactions between members that we don't really see together all the time. And I'm also just loving Seungjan and Shotaro. They're so cute and so precious, and they already seem so comfortable with all the other members, and it's just been really like cute seeing them just interacting with everybody and like seeing who they're kind of like hanging out with the most. And also like they just seem like they've been there forever because they're so comfortable and they fit in so well like right away. So that was really cool to see that and be introduced to them, and I think they had some really strong parts in their debut songs, and they've already made some big achievements after being in NCT for like a month, so that's awesome as well. I think these eras were kind of a mess in terms of things that SM was doing with like styling and set designs and whatnot, and also some of the things that some of the boys were doing. But in terms of music, I think that I really enjoyed this era, and I think the Resonance music video kind of tied it all nicely together. So that is number 6. Coming in at number 5, right in the middle, is 17's Semicolon special album. Oh my goodness. 17 is a group that I also got into this year, just like with Woods, and I got into them because of my friend. Again, same friend that got me into Woods. I think I got into them in April, maybe? I don't know, I feel like it was early on in quarantine, but I have really gravitated towards them, and they are definitely becoming one of my top groups overall very quickly. I really look forward to all of their content, especially Going 17. I can't tell you how many times I have cried and cried laughing watching so many different episodes. They are just so chaotic and funny and lovable, and also of course very talented, so I really enjoyed 17. But this album specifically, I won't lie, I wasn't gonna pre-order it because I did just get into them, and I can't say that I like confidently like all of their music enough to be able to just pre-order it without like hearing every song in full first. But oh my god, when that highlight medley was released, I was like, I have to buy this album like right away. It just hooked me in like immediately, and I loved every song just from the like 30-45 seconds of each song that they played. I had to buy it, and I basically did right after I heard it, and I regret nothing. I love this album so much. I listened to it so much, and I'm also very lucky I got Minghao, my first bias, as my cover, so what kind of fate is that? I don't know. The songs are all so good. I honestly listened to it cover to cover, just on repeat for probably about a month, just all the time, because the songs were so like fun, but also the other ones were like really pretty and nice to listen to. But I think after that point, I really have been only reaching for Hey Buddy, Home Run, and Doremi the most, because I mostly listen to like the hype upbeat type songs, which those are, so I haven't really been reaching for the other songs on the album that much, but I will listen to them if they come out of my shuffles because they are pretty, or if I'm just like feeling kind of sad or something, I'll play the slower ones because they are, it'll match my mood better, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Number 4 is GOT7 Breath of Love Last Piece. Are we surprised that GOT7 is on this list? I'm not. Like I say it in every GOT7 video that I ever do, but GOT7 holds a very special place in my heart. They were the second group that I got into, but they were honestly the first group that I like really gravitated towards and really latched onto like very strongly when I got into K-pop 4 years ago. Oh my god. But yes, this album is just so good, and I could not stop listening to this album on repeat in full, cover to cover, just like 17's album. But this one, I've done that a lot more, I would say, like a lot more frequently. I've been listening to this just top to bottom. I love everything. Oh my god. I really especially love that all of the members got to write and compose their own song, but also that every single member is on all of those songs. I think it's really cool that you get to hear like every member's personal flair, I guess, with their songs, but also that everyone is on it instead of it just being like that one singular member. I think that was really cool of them to do. and I think all the songs are super cohesive and they work really well together, and they're just like vibey. Like, I don't know how to really explain that, but they just are. And it just makes it very easy to listen to constantly, like cover to cover or shuffled. Like it all works very well, I think. I think the music videos were super cool, even if they confused me in some of the aspects. Like, why was Mark lip syncing so many parts that were not his? Where was Jackson for most of Breath? Why wasn't Young Jay in most of Last Piece? Like, I don't get it, but I still really like the music videos and I still watch them quite a bit. But yeah, I just feel really like happy and calm at the same time, I guess, listening to all of the songs. But I would still say, like, I Mean It and 1+1 especially. I don't know how they ended up making songs that make me feel so giddy, but here we are. Like, I Mean It especially, oh my god, I still get as excited to hear I Mean It now as the first time that I ever heard it. Like, it just makes me so happy, and I've never reacted to a song that way, so I think that's probably part of why this album is so high, is because the songs just make me so excited. It's insane. I've never felt that way, like, listening to a song for the first time or any time after. Like, it's wild. GOT7 only. Coming in at number 3 is Blackpink's The Album, because duh, Blackpink is one of my favorite groups and my top girl group in K-pop, so you know that this album had to be somewhere on this list and somewhere pretty high on this list, especially because this is their first full album after 4 years. But nonetheless, I love this album so much. Like, it was such a special occasion that I ended up buying every single version of the album, much to the dismay of my bank account, but it's fine. Yeah, I just think that, like, How You Like That and Ice Cream were really good pre-releases. I think they gave pretty good, like, tastes and hints, I guess, as to what the rest of the album was going to sound like. And just all of the content that we've been getting with How You Like That and Ice Cream and just everything, like Blackpink 24365 every week for 16 episodes, because we never got the last one, which is really sad. The 4th anniversary video, the Netflix documentary, like literally everything. I'm just so wow. Like, this era has been a pretty good one for Blackpink, I think. Compared to other years. This is probably the most content they've ever released in 1 year, so that is just very exciting. As for the songs, I honestly think they're all incredible. I genuinely can't stop listening to them. I play them all the time. I play probably at least half of the album every time I go anywhere in the car to do like essential shopping. All of our shopping is like far away, so I need a lot of music to, you know, keep me entertained. But I honestly also just listen to the album cover to cover pretty often, because I don't know if it's because the album is kind of short, because some of the songs are short and there's only 8 songs, but the songs are also just that good. So I don't know. It's a mix of both, I think. I think the songs are really good and really addicting, so I can't stop listening to them, but also it's a short album, so that's why I listen to it so much. I don't know. Did that even make any sense? I definitely said this when I filmed my album reaction for the album, but I think that this is Blackpink's most cohesive body of work, I guess. Their mini albums, I obviously love those songs, but I feel like the songs are not very cohesive and they don't necessarily work well together. They're good songs, but they don't fit in the same way that all of the songs on the album do together. So yeah, I just think the album is super cohesive, which is a good thing, obviously. And yeah, I just cannot wait to see any of these songs, maybe all of them, performed at their online concert in January, so very much looking forward to that. But yes, Blackpink is my number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Stray Kids Go Live / In Life. Are we surprised that Stray Kids is A, on the list, and B, really high on the list? No, we shouldn't be, because Stray Kids genuinely are one of my top groups. They have really quickly taken like a top spot in my list of groups, I guess. They're just so good at everything, and I just have the dumbest smile on my face whenever I watch any of their content. Like, I can't. Like, every song on both of these albums is just insanely good, and I just listen to them all the time. Again, when we go out and do our essential shopping, it's far away, and I make sure to work in at least half of the songs off of these albums pretty much every time we go anywhere, just because I love them so much. Like, they're just so hype and just so good. Like, oh my god, I just can't. And I really am so glad that they released the unit songs from tour, because I got to see those live in January, and I did not think that they were going to release them anytime soon, but Stray Kids just keep feeding us with all the content that we want and all the things that we ask for, because I know people were demanding these on Twitter, and they definitely gave us what we wanted, so I very much appreciate that, and I listen to them all the time. Just something about this whole new era is hitting so differently, and everything is just so on point. Like, I'm not saying that their previous eras, like the Clay series, like wasn't good. Obviously I love all of their stuff, but it's just something about this era in particular. Something is just so different, and it's just hitting so different in every aspect. Like the outfits, the music obviously, and the music videos, and all of the transitions. If you have seen my reaction videos for God's Menu and Backdoor, you know I lost my marbles every time there was a cool transition, which there were many of them in both of those videos. I honestly still get chills every time I watch those music videos, because they're just so freaking good, and I love Stray Kids so much. Oh my god. And honestly, again, if this list were based on just music videos, like my favorite music videos of 2020, God's Menu would be right after Kick It, or like tied with Kick It, because Chef's Kiss, perfect. And according to my Spotify, they were my top artist, and I was in the top 2% of their listeners this year, so I was definitely vibing with Stray Kids quite a bit this year, and I think that will probably continue to stay the same in the future, but we'll just have to see what happens next year, I guess. And finally, the #1 spot is All Time Low, Wake Up Sunshine. Oh my god, this album is everything to me. Genuinely. It came out in April, but I listened to this album and all of the songs off of it so much, constantly. It is honestly the most consistently listened to album of the year for me. Like, out of all the albums that have been released and all of the albums on this list, this one, only this one, I have listened to so consistently since it's been released. All Time Low are such a comfort band for me, and this album is such a comfort album as well. Like, there's so many lyrics that have just hit so hard. Like, even when I first heard them, I wanted to cry to some of them, and like some of them I still cry when I hear them. Like Melancholy Kaleidoscope, Glitter and Crimson, definitely. Safe, honestly Wake Up Sunshine sometimes, even though it's kind of a hype song, January Gloom, and like maybe some of the others, but oh my god, yeah, just so much of this album just hits so close, and it just makes me feel better when I listen to it. I just feel very comfortable and safe and at home listening to All Time Low and this album. I also really enjoyed the collaborations that they had on this album. I think the collab with blackbear for Monsters, which is like my favorite song on the album, was so good. It's definitely something new for them, but it worked so well. And the band Camino, they sounded really good on the song that they did with All Time Low, so I really enjoyed that. And I also really loved all of the live acoustic versions of the songs that they posted on YouTube over the summer. It just made me love the songs even more, and I kind of have them like burnt into my brain. I've listened to them so many times and cried to them sometimes too, because I am a sap and I love them so much. Honestly, this album is just so classically All Time Low, and like, I don't know, I think it's gonna be timeless for me, just because I feel like I can listen to it anytime, and I will probably be listening to it for the rest of my life, honestly. Like, I just love this album so much. I can't even explain. It's like right there in front of me. I love it. I love it so much. I love All Time Low so much. All Time Low was my #2 artist on Spotify, but every song off of this album pretty much was also in my top 100 playlist, so I think that's kind of saying a lot. But yeah, All Time Low, Wake Up Sunshine, definitely my #1 album. there you have it. That is my ranking for the top 10 albums of 2020, both K-pop and non-K-pop. Honestly, I felt like I was drowning in music and content overall this year because I already stan so many groups, but like I said, I got into so many new artists as well, so that made it a bit of a task to try to do this ranking, besides the fact that it's pretty much all based on my memory, which is not that great to begin with. But yes, that is my top 10 albums of the year. I am curious though, what were your top albums of the year? Let me know down below. And before I go, I do want to say thank you to all of you who have watched and or subscribed to me this year, as well as taking the time to like my videos and write me comments. My channel has grown quite a bit and quite quickly this year, which is super cool, so thank you all for that. I do this channel mainly for fun, so I think it's really awesome that others at least somewhat enjoy my videos too. So again, thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of 2020 and that you are all staying safe and healthy, and I will see you next year.